Hey guys, it's Ghosdee. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be ranking the Final Destination series. When I decided that I was going to cover the Final Destination series on my channel, I was so excited. The first film in this installment was released when I was like 5, and then the last one was released when I was like 15, maybe 16. So I watched these films release as I grew up, and there's so much nostalgia in this series for me, and that has a lot to do with why I love the series so much. But revisiting the series as an adult actually felt great, and I feel like it should be respected as one of the top horror franchises, at least of this time. I had a lot of fun revisiting these, and I have lots of thoughts and opinions on my rankings of these as well. I'm gonna go ahead and start with my least favorite one and count up to my favorite one. Final Destination 4. I did not like this movie when I first saw it when it came out in 2009. First of all, I was very taken back by the whole 3D idea. I didn't really care for 3D at the time, nor do I care for 3D now. Actually, I just don't really see the point of it, and it was very obvious that they structured this film around the idea of it being 3D. They didn't even try to do anything else. By this time, the series was already kind of going downhill. I don't think they cared to try and bring it back, to try and make it enjoyable. I hate all of the characters. For the most part, these films do have characters that are useless, but at least they're entertaining and aren't annoying. Every single character in this movie is pretty much annoying. I hate that the major incident is at a NASCAR race. First of all, NASCAR is racist. I don't care what you say, NASCAR is fucking racist. Second of all, that is the weirdest place to have an accident. How can you explain oh, some shit went down at a NASCAR? It was really disappointing, especially seeing how the disasters in the earlier films were all very real disasters. Plane crash, roller coaster, car crash. These are things that people experience day to day. Getting killed at a NASCAR place? Maybe not. There are two things that I like about this film that I liked. I liked this when I first saw it, and I liked it again now. First of all, that intro is hella dope. We have the main theme, which I think is amazing. The Final Destination main theme is great. I tried to look it up on Spotify. I tried to find it on YouTube. I couldn't find it anywhere. So if you guys know the name of this and where I can listen to it repeatedly, please share with me, because I really need to listen to it. But they have this rock version of it. It takes us through all the deaths of the Final Destination movies. It was really cool. I really liked that. Second of all, I love the character George. He is the black disposable character that helps the people get along, and then as soon as they don't need anymore, he's discarded, of course. The scene where he thinks it's his turn and he's trying to kill himself, but he can't die, and he's like, man, I've been trying to kill myself all day. I do not know why I thought that was so funny when I first saw it, and actually rewatching it, I thought it was just as funny, which was kind of cool. But other than those two things, this movie is not great at all. I gave this film 1.5 stars on Letterboxd, and it's currently sitting at 2.2 stars on Letterboxd. Final Destination 3. By the time this movie came out, I was actually kind of over this series. I was at a point in my life where I thought I was too cool for sequels. I thought that every horror sequel in the making was dumb and just overrated, but I was 10 and trying to be a film connoisseur. So I went into this film really with a biased opinion on it, honestly, and I didn't like it. A couple years ago, I started to do some research on the film, and I was like, this movie actually isn't that bad. I have to give respects to those people as far as the behind the scenes work. I learned a lot about the behind the scenes and the work that they put in to make this film, especially that roller coaster scene. I was like, I have to give these people props. Actually, in general, all of these movies, if I'm not mistaken, have practical effects with a little bit of CGI. So props to everybody that's ever worked on these films and worked to make these kills cool with practical effects. So I was actually looking forward to revisiting this one probably the most. I felt like I've changed so much since I've watched this film the last time, and I was pleasantly surprised and entertained. These characters kind of suck too, but at least we have Mary Elizabeth Winstead, which I love her. That is my wife. I love her so much. I think she's a great protagonist, and just the sheer fear in her eyes in almost every scene is just wow, she's doing her thing. The roller coaster death is just dope. I feel like the roller coaster death scene is the longest accident scene. They really went for it there. And I think that the fact that it took place at a roller coaster was just so fucking cool. Not only that, but this film introduced another way that the signs work, the signs of your death that were introduced in the earlier films. Because what these films do with each installment, they do change like how this thing works. I guess by this point they were like, okay, we want to use the whole like use signs to predict your death, but they wanted to like make it relevant, so they introduced this whole like photograph idea, your photograph predicting your death. That was perfect for its time. Honestly, it didn't age well, but I still like that. When they introduced the photograph feature, it made it more fun for me, more like a scavenger hunt. It even is good for a rewatch. You know, I like movies that are rewatchable, in my opinion, are better than non-rewatchable movies. I gave this film 3 stars on Letterboxd, and it's currently sitting at 2.8 stars on Letterboxd. Final Destination 5 and Final Destination 2. I wrestled with these two films in my mind a lot. I honestly did not know which one I wanted to be in my number 2 spot, so I just combined them together. These are my rules, this is my channel, so the fuck what. Initially, I wanted to put Final Destination 2 in my second slot because it was, up until about a year ago, my favorite Final Destination movie. But I kept revisiting the first one and I was like, I don't think that the second one's actually better than the first one. I rewatched the first two actually pretty often. So going into this watch, I knew that 2 was probably going to be on my second list. But then I thought about 5 and how much I really loved 5. I realized as I was watching these and taking my notes that I like these two movies for some of the same reasons. I love that they both tie into the first movie. I'm a sucker for movies that are sequels and just going about their day. There's different characters, and then all of a sudden it ties into the first movie. This is something we didn't know going into Final Destination 2, and especially 5. I know that ending of 5 had everybody fucking like, when I first watched it, when it came out, I had goosebumps. Everybody in the aisle, come on, get on the And I heard like the argument between Carter and Alex. I was like, is this 180? Like that just, and I love that whole idea that was introduced in the second one. Well, if we would have never got off that plane, the second people would not be alive. It makes sense that 5 is actually a prequel, because I always wondered like, well, how did 180 happen? Well, if they never would have survived that bus disaster from the 5th movie, the people on 180 never would have died. To tie these all together, I thought that was pretty cool. Aside from the first one, they both have characters that actually don't suck. Useless, but they don't suck. I've especially loved Eugene in the second one. I've talked about him before on my channel. I think that the actor for this, I can't remember his name, I think he fucking killed this. I love that throughout the film, he's mostly like, this is a bunch of hoo-ha. It almost feels like he's like, white people are fucking crazy. Then he has his breakdown, which I thought was genius to include in this film. As far as like 5, the characters, I really like Candace's boyfriend. I can't remember his name, but like he goes through so much in this film, watching Candace die, and he turns out to be like this kind of antagonist in the film, because you learn like if you can take somebody else's life, you'll survive. And you know, he's kind of justifying killing someone else because he's like, Candace died unfairly. I thought that that was great. Please, like, these movies don't have to be just one death to the next death. We can have characters that have real MOs and are real characters. Useless, but real. And one thing I want to add about the second one, which I really liked, I love the way they set up the whole watch the signs in this movie. They really delved into it in this one. The first one, I feel like they were just like Easter eggs, like it's not as in your face, but in this one, it's so in your face about how they die. That fridge says eye. There's an eye on that fridge, so something's gonna happen with his eye. I just think that's so much fun. I gave Final Destination 2 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, and it's currently sitting at 2.8 stars on Letterboxd. And I gave Final Destination 5 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, and it's currently sitting at 2.7 stars on Letterboxd. Final Destination. Like I said before, Final Destination 2 was at my #1 spot until about a year ago. I hate to say this, I hate to be this person, but you can't fuck with the OG. The idea was so fresh for its time. We're in the 2000s, and all we're getting is like wannabe screams, slashers that are also whodunits. To have this like supernatural slasher movie come on the scene, it was a breath of fresh air. Also, this movie is why this series is so nostalgic for me, because this is the most nostalgic movie for me in my entire life. Honestly, one of the most, because this was one of my first horror films. I watched this when I was like 5 or 6. My Nana had it on tape and I watched it on tape. It would always have a special place in my heart. I think that this movie has maybe not the best deaths, but every single death is a great death. All the other movies, there's like 1 or 2 deaths that are just like, okay. The bus scene, I still get shocked watching that. Like, even though I know what's gonna happen. I feel like out of all the films, this one has the most care. They tried the most. For that, it's obviously my favorite. I gave this film 5 stars on Letterboxd, and it's currently sitting at 3.1 stars on Letterboxd. Thanks guys for watching this video. If you liked it, you can give it a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe to my channel to watch all of my content. And if you want to be notified whenever I release new videos, you can always just hit the bell. Follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at DiscoLlama, Twitter at Ghosdee, and Letterboxd at Ghosdee. Thanks. I'll see you guys in the next video.